The power of an idea is the potency of an idea. It's a seed. It's a seed that must be planted, watered, so that the potential of the seed can become an harvest, right? So for me, I train entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurship is actually the fruits of an idea, right? Businesses are born out of an idea. Wealth is created out of an idea. So when people discount ideas, when people don't see it as precious, when people don't nourish it, when people don't desire it, when it looks too small, right? When it looks too small or when it looks or feels impossible, right? It's because people may not understand that the power, everything that could be, is lying within an idea. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Miss Funke, welcome. Miss Tiffany, welcome. Miss Shirley, welcome as well. Please come up to the stage. My room is usually like a conversation. So please come up. Let me know what your thoughts are, your experiences, your thoughts, and what ideas you actually have as well. Because ideas rule the world, you know, but we have to move it from the stage of imagination into betting it in reality. And it takes a process, right? It takes so much work to create it, but an idea is a reflection of what's possible, of a possible future. And people have to receive it, they have to believe it, they have to want it, they have to desire it, they have to work for it, they have to yield themselves to it, they have to focus, they have to. But that is what most people may not be ready to do, to plant their ideas. So let me hear, Miss Shirley, what are your thoughts on that? Thank you.
Well, Toyin, I'm thrilled you would ask me. Well, what I've been working on right now is the idea of um, talking about my story and just coming out straight out and just being very open and transparent and just stating the facts and my experience as a woman who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2018 after having had an incredibly uh, spectacular car accident where I was in a psychosis and believed that I was stopping climate change. Okay. So what happened was I was hospitalized after that and went on medication. I had no idea I had bipolar disorder before that happened to me. And and I was 60, I was 59 years old. And anyway, the consequences of me getting divorced, between getting divorced from my husband of 36 years, the consequences have been that my 5 children do not speak to me. Like they don't communicate with me. Well, one of them has communicated with me via an email, but they don't want to. They've set very clear boundaries. Like they have castles with moats around them and crocodiles. They don't want me there in their life. And I've had to deal with this and and get well. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I'm going to. I did an audio book in English called Shirley World, and now I'm preparing to talk about it in French, actually, because I'm bilingual, um, and that's my maternal language, and I want to tell my story in French, and yeah, because I think that I just want to shine a light. You know, the idea behind that, Toyin, is to shine a light on what goes on in family alienation and estrangement, which is an epidemic now. I mean, often parents have no clue why their children don't talk to them. You know, and in my case, you know, there's reasons, right? There's different reasons why it could have happened. But nevertheless, it's an extremely painful and shameful and hidden uh, issue. So that's why I wanted to. That's my idea.
Oh, wow. What, I mean, I applaud your courage, right? Because it does take courage for us to expose our hearts, our pains, our sorrows, our triumphs. It takes incredible courage to expose that to the world and to say, this is me. I own my story, right? And it is what it is, right? And sharing it hopefully, normalizes the fact that this is happening behind closed doors in many places, and maybe talking about it might bring more healing to more people, right? So it takes incredible courage, right? One of the things I do say, and welcome, Miss Funke, I'm going to give you time briefly, but just give me a moment to just also contribute to what Miss Shelley was saying. I've been teaching lately in terms of spirituality and entrepreneurship. And one of the things I say is that we also have to understand the source of an idea, that where do ideas come from? I believe they're deeply spiritual. And for me, as a believer, as a Christian, I attribute ideas. I mean, there are all kinds of ideas, right? When you think about many people who nurture destructive ideas, when you think about Putin and wars and famine and different things happening around the world, but those who are faith based and Christians and doing the work of God would be ideas that can create, ideas that can unite, ideas that can heal, ideas that can educate, ideas that can elevate and make the world a better place, right? Because there are definitely, there are some ideas that people definitely use to literally destroy, and hopefully we want to have more people betting ideas that would yield more meaningful communities that unites us and makes the world a better place. So that's also something to call out, is that the source of ideas, for sure, to me, they're spiritual, but also there are ideas, connecting to something I teach around energetics, the idea that thoughts polarize, energy positively or negatively, is that, you are a force in the world, right? You're a force in the world. And if there's no intention, if people do not understand the power of intentionality, of deciding to say, I want to use my force, my energy, my thoughts, my all that I am, I want to use it to create, to bless people, to nourish the world. That there's intentionality behind that, because others may be doing the exact opposite. So let me bring Miss Funke as well to the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself. And yeah, I would like to know what's on your mind. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Miss Toyin. This is Funkela Dilly, and I'd like to appreciate
Oh, I
Miss
remember
Shirley
you.
for.
Sorry,
Hi.
okay. I was just looking at
Yeah,
your profile. Go on. Sorry. Go ahead.
yes, I'm Funke with Bambi on Africa Magazine, and I've actually interviewed you before, so it's an honor to have you here and to also be here on this platform to contribute on this idea. So I wanted to say I admire Miss Shirley's courage to share your story and not holding back telling your story. And I do hope a lot of people liberated and get more understanding, just get more enlightened about you telling your story. So thank you for that. So talking about ideas, I lately, think about things like this. I think human beings, we don't realize how much power we carry. We and the systems around us have kind of conditioned us. I would use that word, conditioned us to think a certain way, to follow a certain path, depending on how you were raised, and can be limiting to our creativity. And ideas I've come to learn as I'm growing, that ideas fly around. There are ideas we're constantly creating, we're constantly having ideas. And I think the challenge we face is that if we've already had one focus or chatted or created one path for ourselves, we tend to follow that. We tend to follow that path and just keep going. And and when we have ideas, it becomes really hard to like put it together, because maybe the world is telling us, you only have to focus on this one thing. You cannot, digress. You don't want to put all of you don't want to be like a jack of all trades. So we downplay the ideas and the dreams that we carry, and we only have this one way vision, and gradually I think our creativity, we're limiting it, and it dies that way. So I guess maybe just food for thought there, for everybody to think about is, what ideas have you stashed away over the years? What ideas are you putting on the back burner just because you have this career you're pursuing? And does your career really fulfill you? Or would you be more fulfilled just developing those ideas you've been keeping in your closet for years? So that's just what I want to share. And if you have any thoughts, Ms. Tonya or anyone else, about, when you have multiple ideas, where do you start? How do you make sure you're not, letting go of your dreams or feeling like it has to be a certain way, and just making sure you're putting it out there?
Oh, thank you so much. So for me, ideas, like everything else in life, it's an offer. It's an offer, and the individual, is free to make a decision, right? That when something is offered to you, you can say yes, you can say no, and the decision made has consequences, right? And many times people don't want to take on the responsibility of owning an idea. That's why you find people say, oh, they see opportunities and they say, oh, why are people not taking advantage of the opportunity? And you come to wonder that why are you not, when people don't take ideas as their own, and there are reasons for it. Part of it is the education system, because I've thought a lot about this in my school, and the link is up above. And also, I had to draw like a picture, like to help people understand what's really going on, to make people understand that this is how you take your idea. I use the picture to explain, imagination, visualization, and the place of manifestation. And I talked about ideas originating in the spirit, and it's like a seed, and then you have to believe it, you have to desire it. That's the planting of the idea. You need it to gain roots to grow, and then the words and action we take is what leads to the manifestation, to the creation of the idea. Is that our words and action actually has to match what we believe. And everything that I teach is rooted in scriptures in the Bible, and I try to explain it in ways that whether you're a Christian or not, you can understand. But there are definitely deep thoughts when it comes to Christian faith principles lying beneath what I teach. Because a lot of times, even in the Christian faith, right, we believe, we pray, we ask for, everything that we want. And many times people may not realize that those things are being answered every single day in the form of ideas, right? And when people are expecting, right, a car, instead of, let's say, an opportunity to go to school, to get a job that will help you get the car, people just want the car to show up, but not realizing that there's process tied to, right? When the idea is given, that there's a process tied to becoming the person that can hold the idea in your hands. So I see a lot of gaps where people may not understand that the whole world follows principles, that how abstract concepts like ideas get created in the world follows specific processes and requires specific skills, that this is not magic, right? That there's a responsibility that we all have to become the person that can do the work that we then create. Because again, ideas, it's a reflection of what's possible for you if you so desire it. It's a picture of what you can become if you so walk towards it. It's a picture of the future if you decide you want that future. So that definitely puts a lot of responsibility on people and I think many times the gap is that people don't want the responsibility, but they want the outcomes and the results. They want the life, but How to create the life requires diligence, dedication, focus, investment, hard work, transformation, right? And right there is actually where the gap is that ideas are sitting on the shelf waiting for people to own it, become it, invest in it, and transform and manifest it. And many people are missing that opportunity and they're still praying, hoping, that's one day, right? But anyway, we'll get deeper into it for those who have an appetite for this type of discussion. And Miss Dorothy, um, please go ahead and contribute. I love discussion, so feel free to share your own thoughts or also respond to other thoughts and ideas shared on the stage. And welcome everyone joining. Please do share the space, and I'm sure you pick a few things here and there that will definitely help you on your own journey to fulfillment. Thank you so much. Over to you, Miss Dorothy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation into the room. It's perfect timing. I'm driving to an event, so this was just great, and I loved everything that you just spoke about. So when I think about ideas, like I'm always looking for patterns. How we do anything is how we do everything, and I believe that how we approach our ideas is how we were conditioned when we were children, and that when we had great ideas and we brought them to our the family who raised us or whoever we were with when we were young, if those ideas were embraced or celebrated, we had way more confidence about bringing an idea to life or even just sharing our idea. And when we were raised in a situation where the ideas were rejected or people were too busy or there wasn't time or understanding and our ideas were shut down, that in general it's a little bit harder to bring your celebrate your idea by bringing it to life in a conversation. And that when we can really go back, love the part of ourself that was not powerful enough to get what we needed, get the attention or the listening that we needed as a child, when we can go back and love that part of ourselves, it feels way easier to go ahead and bring our idea to life or share our idea. And then one other piece before I wrap is just because I work with a lot of people in business and business development, whenever anybody has an idea, I always like to approach a business idea from three seats. The first seat is, and this is something I learned from Walt Disney. I didn't like make this up on my own. I learned this from a Walt Disney training decades ago. Is that when you take that idea and you sit in the seat of what is the ideal result that this idea could create, and bringing that vision to life in your mind, because if you see it you can create it. That idea can actually become a thing because you visualize it so powerfully. And then sit in the second seat of what could possibly go wrong with this idea. Like what's the danger in me bringing this idea to life? And it could be external circumstances. It could be not knowing, not having skills or education or is who do I need and what do I need to know? And I loved what you just said about being in the gap. What is in the gap of me bringing this idea to life? And then getting really clear on what that gap is, and then being able to bring your idea to life. So it looks like I'm having a red bar popping up, but yeah, so that's it. And thank you. Thank you for inviting me up to the stage to share. And again, thank you for inviting me into the room. So appreciate this subject. Thank you. Back to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, the pleasure is mine. Listening to you, I want to also introduce a concept that is so important. Is this idea of expanding consciousness? Is that part of the gap? Also, is that consciousness has to do with the mind and is heavily influenced by knowledge, right? That a 5-year old, the consciousness of a 5-year old versus the 50, 60, or 40-year old is that when we grow physically by nature, consciousness also can be expanded upon. And here's one thing people need to know: you are responsible for the expansion of your own consciousness, meaning you're responsible for educating yourself, about the physical world, about the spiritual world, about your own mind, and the way you actually function, which is the gap. Because the traditional education system did not teach us about consciousness. They programmed us to function as an employee, not as a creator, not as a producer, not as an entrepreneur, not about bringing our own ideas to life. They condition most people in the world to be order takers, right? To do what they're being told to do externally, to be externally driven, externally dependent, externally weakened, right? Is that most people in the world that have gone through the traditional education system do not think in a conscious way, in an expanded conscious way. And that is the problem. Because one of the things I say is that if you've exposed yourself in the world of accounting, let's say you went to school and you became an accountant, you are heavily conscious in that domain, and you are aware and you are well informed. You know debits and credits, you know how to balance the cash flow, right? So your consciousness in that domain is higher than somebody that never ever exposed their mind into that domain. The same thing is true if that accountant steps into the world of a medical doctor. That person will be in the dark, will not have consciousness of the world of medicine because they haven't invested time, energy, and resources to open their minds to understanding the knowledge base that will create awareness, the right perception, the right intuition, the right skills, the right knowledge to be able to function as a medical doctor. So when I talk about and teach about consciousness, I speak it through the lens of the power of knowledge, that in order for you to create in the world what you see in your mind, in order for you to manifest your thoughts, ideas, listen, those ideas, for you to create it in the physical world, you've got to understand how the physical world works. You cannot create a plane without knowledge of aerodynamics. You cannot, like if you have an idea, like the Wright brothers that saw, they believed man could fly, but they had to invest themselves into acquisition of the knowledge that will help them to execute those thoughts and ideas. And so this is why many times people may have invested countless hours or years training in an area. Yes, you've given 5 years to acquiring a skill, but if the idea you now have, if the idea you've been given, right, requires you to develop another knowledge base, this is where people get a hang up. They are thinking that accounting knowledge will open the keys for entrepreneurship. That's where this gap is, right? Is that we always need to be pursuing the knowledge that will support us in expansion of consciousness, right? Like in entrepreneurship, you need to know psychology, human behavior, communication. Like, and if you refuse to stay in the dark, okay, and you don't learn the fundamentals of entrepreneurship and business development, but you have an idea to build a business, but you are in the dark, you're missing the knowledge, expertise, awareness, consciousness required to build a successful business. This is where suffering comes in, right? This is where the real suffering, the pain, and the frustration from believing and knowing that you can do something but not being able to do it, right? Is that you know you're powerful, you know you have abilities, you know you're brilliant. Yes, you have the mental capacity to withhold and hold on to knowledge. But if you don't fill your mind up, if you don't dose or douse yourself with, I talk about enlightenment, right? It's like light. You have to light the darkness. Lack of knowledge is the dark. If you don't switch on the lights, true knowledge, if you don't open your mind to know more, to be more, to understand more, to be more aware, to make sure your perception is richer, to make sure your making process is more refined, is more precise. If you refuse to educate yourself, I'm not talking about the first degree or second degree. I'm not talking about the technical skills that allows you to get a job. I'm talking about enlightenment, full on enlightenment, personal education, personal development, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of the world, the knowledge of the spiritual, the knowledge of all of these things that will make you more powerful, more unstoppable, more effective in pursuing everything you want. That is what I'm talking about. Is that consciousness can expand, but it's not my responsibility to open anybody's mind. It is the responsibility of each person to actively pursue expansion and growth of knowledge in their own life. Because the more you know, the more you become, the more you become, the more you can attract to yourself, the more you can create for your life. And when you have little knowledge, you can do little. If you have more knowledge, you grow. And so expansion of consciousness is the whole journey to creativity and productivity. Because in the mind is where ideas mix up with wonder, belief, right? Like desire. That's another topic entirely. If you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to do the work at all. Right. So I'll stop right there and just open up. I know I said a lot there, but anybody, please go ahead, respond. And thank you to those in the room as well. Feel free to join us on the stage for a great conversation. Anybody?
I'd like to respond. I think that what you're saying is really valuable, and I think that as women, we've been socially conditioned to be quiet, to be invisible. I can only speak for myself. You know, I've been socially conditioned to be invisible and to be quiet, to shut up. And so for me to come out and tell my story is I have a calling to do that. You know, I have a calling to do that in order to, the idea is to say, even though these things have happened, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. It's happening so that I can choose to be peaceful and to be a force for good in the world and to spread my peace around me through my voice. And you know, that's about all we can do, right, Toyin and everybody? Like, that's about all we can do. And the unconscious keeps us repressed, and the unconscious is like a very good description was a cork bobbing on the ocean. The up, you know, repressing our subconscious thoughts is like holding down the cork underneath the water. And meditation, you know, which is one of the key elements of why I got unstuck, lets the cork bob up to the surface, you know, and all the repressed shame and the blame and the not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy and all those messages about be invisible and you're bad and you're a bad mother. My God, that's like the worst thing you can be called when you're a mother. Uh, yeah, you know, I mean, it's important to do our part to break the chains of subconscious, contracted, traditional kind of thinking, you know. So that's my contribution.
I love, I've taught a session before on freedom. I started it from the angle of why do we want money? Why are we chasing money, right? Is that we want money because of what we believe money can buy us, right? And one thing I also shared in that session is the idea that, yes, financial freedom is one thing, but another more powerful freedom that every human actually longs for is the freedom of expression, right? Is that we're in the world, we experience the world through our mind, we take in data, right? We have senses, we sight, sound, um, our ears, we can feel. Like as a being, we're here to experience this reality, this world. We're here to enjoy, to be happy. Like that's why a lot of times people that that are not present in their own body, they can't experience joy, fulfillment, happiness, right? They are here but they're not here. They're somewhere else. That's a struggle, right? But in a normal way, we are here to experience being alive in this body as a being. The second and the flip side of this, which is the ultimate struggle, is that we are also to be experienced. Through our words and action, the world experiences us. As I'm speaking right now, you're literally experiencing my thoughts, opinions, right? You are experiencing me, we're experiencing one another. So we are to listen, experience, read the world, right? Arrive at our own conclusion, process whatever it is we're experiencing, right? Decide what we want to make of it, because as we're in this room, trust me, we're listening to the same thing, but we're not arriving at the same conclusions, because your own context is important to you. But part of the subconscious is your context is heavily dependent on the stories, right, that you tell yourself, that you believe, the identity you've taken on. But that's not what I want to dive into. The reality is that the flip side of me giving myself permission to assert myself, right, to express myself, it is a fundamental right of being a human being. And to your point, many people have been subconsciously robbed, right, robbed of the freedom of expression through judgments, labels, assertions, stories, so many things. There's so many weapons used to minimize, mute people's voices. And because of that, if you've been muted, you are not a free being, right? Because your thoughts, opinions, your ideas, back to the ideas, your ideas deserve a space in the world. Your thoughts deserves a place of expression. Your opinions, your assertions, your intentionality, the intention behind your words and action. Those are your gifts. That's all you have to offer the world, actually. That's all you actually have to offer the world. And so when you fail, or let's say when you allow yourself to be minimized, to be reduced, to be muted by whatever stories those are or experiences, you actually you do. How do you use this word? You stop yourself from being human, fully human, right? Because you can come into this world and the world may never experience your gifts and talents in the magnitude that is possible. Why? Because you believe the story and you never made room for your ideas. You never gave yourself permission to show up as you are. You devalued your own thoughts, opinions. You minimized it. And the moment you do that in your mind, listen, because this is where the personal work, nobody can do this work for anybody. The moment you tell yourself, oh, nobody cares, nobody will believe me, no, you are literally supporting whatever those stories are. And then the world is waiting for, like the Bible talks about, the world is waiting for the manifestation of the children of God. Meaning the whole world needs your ideas, they need your skills, they need your power, they need your thoughts to advance and propel the world. And when good people do not do this work, evil will prevail, because many people are out there spreading false stuff, all kinds of stuff. But the good people that actually also are here to heal the world, nourish the world, serve the world, nurse the world, even when you think about post COVID, right? The people that are supposed to serve and nurse the world back to full health, if they are muted, right? And we women, let me just be direct, there are certain gifts we have. The gift of what the world is needing right now and desperate for. Listen, the source of it is very feminine, right? People want to be seen, people want to be cared for, people don't want to be treated as a number, people want nurturing, people want care. Like that's what we want as humans right now. Guess where that comes from naturally? Women. We build communities, we nurture one another, we serve one another, we pay attention. So if women are being muted, listen, the world will suffer for it. The world will suffer for it. Communities that do not have that touch, and that touch of tender care, understanding, nurturing, listen, they suffer. There's a lot of pain going on in those communities, right? So I definitely see the power of ideas, but I also see the power of you and expressing you, so that you can bring everything that you carry to nurture the world and to make the world a better place. The power of an idea is in the hands of the people who believe in everything that the idea holds for the world. Because at the end of the day, the idea is not fully just yours. The idea is for you. You are the person to bet it, right? The idea is actually to make the world a better place. And ideas always need a vehicle for delivery. You are the delivery vehicle to birth ideas that make other people's life better. And so when people do not own the idea, champion the idea, invest in the idea, right, nurture the idea, right, make the idea a better place, the world is missing something that was supposed to happen for it. So, for example, in my school, I pretty much invested countless like years, knowing that people need a place to go and learn, to nurture themselves, to build businesses, world class businesses. I served as a strategist for Fortune One. So I believed in my idea and I invested in an idea. And now I'm serving the world with the idea for those who want to be served. And that's the power. And that power is for the world and is also for you. So in the world of wealth creation, I'll say this and then I'll start wrapping up unless there are more questions. So even in the world of wealth creation, through entrepreneurship, business development, investment management, all of those things, people need to understand all of the wealth that everybody is creating in the world. They are all the fruits of an idea. Everything, all the wealth that you are looking for, the money you want to make, the business, everything, right, is encapsulated in the ideas in your mind. Everything you long for. The ideas, really, they are the seed of your success. It's also the seed of your greatness. The highest version of you, who you're going to become, has to do with the value you're going to deliver in the world. And that value is rooted in what you create. And what you create is dependent on the ideas you have. So these things are incredibly powerful. I'll continue to share and teach as time goes on in my school. Over 300 resources for those who want to learn how to build, grow, and scale, right, world-class businesses. I support my students not just with technical business skills in the accelerator program, but also with mindset programming. And now what I'm expanding on is the idea side of it all, because I'm realizing that if you have an idea to create a business and you don't own it and you don't desire it and you don't invest in it, then when I say come and learn branding, marketing, sales, you're like, oh, there's no time. Oh, there's no money. Oh, and I'm going, wait a minute. Your future deserves better than that, right? So that's why I'm going down to the root of the issue is if we don't prioritize the ideas God has given us, many people miss out on the opportunities that it holds for their future. And if they do not prioritize that future, then yeah, I've also written about the fact that ideas are on a mission, they move on to the next person. So if you have an idea that, and this is why many times you may see somebody living the life of your dreams. Why? That idea if you don't own your idea, somebody else that does that will reap the benefit. That's why other people's life may feel familiar with you because you've seen it in your mind as yours, or you thought it belonged to you, but you didn't do the work. Those who do the work will reap the reward. That's why many times people will see other people achieving success or building a business and say, oh, and I had that idea to build that ice cream shop. And I had that idea to create that spa company. Well, ideas are on a mission to be fulfilled in the world, and they need a champion that will do the work to create it. And only those who do that will live in it. So that's why ideas, they go all like the same idea can be presented to countless number of people around the world, right? And but only those who say, I receive it, I want it, I desire it, and I'm ready to do the work to bring it to life. Only those who do that will bet their ideas in reality. So, yeah, if you see other people doing exactly what you wanted to do, that should bring hope that it's possible for you as well. Ideas are possible for you, they're a reflection of your future. Right, so but we have to partner. We have to go on the process. You can also see on the Instagram I pinned up a new picture where I was, yeah, this is part of my academic stuff. So I put it on Instagram where I talked about, I drew spirituality intersecting with the physical world. And I talked about, in spiritual is where we talk about imagination. You imagine great things, but that imagination, you have to move it from just imagining to visualizing, because that act is where you root, you plant you say, I want this and I believe it's possible for me, right? It's different from, many people can imagine. You can imagine building a house, owning a car, but if you don't believe it, right, and desire it, you don't activate the next side, what's required for manifestation, right? So to move into manifestation, you must mix your imagination with belief that it's yours. It's like if you want to eat food, if you want to eat a particular type of yummy food, you can smell a meal and say, I don't want it, and you leave it. You imagined yourself eating, but you rejected it. How you receive it is to go, wow, I want to taste that. And I really do want that. And I believe I can have it if I want it. You have to mix ideas with belief, awe and wonder and desire for you to activate that journey into manifestation. Because the desire has to be strong enough for you to start pulling it into your life, right? For you to start doing the work that will get you closer to it, right? And most people don't cross into that world. You know why? Because they are mixing ideas with unbelief, with limited mindsets. They're telling themselves stories of why they cannot do it, right? And that's where they get stuck, because the moment you start mixing your idea with what you do not have instead of what you have, then the end, right? Because the seed has to be planted and not in a toxic mind. Just in the physical world, you imagine just taking a seed and putting it in a ground that is toxic. It will rot. It will destroy the idea, right? So unbelief, or limited mindset, self-sabotage, all those things, they are the reason ideas are not coming to life. They are being killed in the mind of the people. So that's why mindset work is about nurturing our mind into a place of belief, into a place of possibility, into an enlightened place of awe and wonder, so that we can open up ourselves and say, I want more, I desire more, I'm ready for more. Because once you move yourself into that state of being open to more, oh my, that's when that's when you start creating some interesting realities for yourself. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I talked about Lihan. Thank you for your comment. You said manifestation is very real. Yeah, you want to check out the resources as well. I put a post on Instagram, and then the link up above is to my school, because I do all this work for entrepreneurship. Because I teach technical side of entrepreneurship. Like, listen, I have hours and hours, like a 10-week accelerator, and I support it with mindsets. Because every idea you have, every business idea you have, you must mix it. It must be planted in the right mind, right? It has to be nurtured, a sense of belief. There's a mindset program in my school, 12 strategies for winning. There's one 30 days of mindset coaching. Listen, I that stuff is important for entrepreneurship, because there are many reasons for you to stop on that journey. There's so much stuff going on for you to manifest and create a business, right? Is that every single day you have to be generating tons of idea. And if those ideas are coming at you, and if you're destroying them because your mindset is telling you, you know excuse me, you're tired, this, the ideas that is supposed to be supporting, see it as a brick, right? Every idea is a brick when you are building your business, right? Like if you want to build a house, every brick must be laid down, must be received and laid down. So every single day as an entrepreneur, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, like you have to show up every day to lay a brick, to lay the brick, to lay a brick, because you are building it up to the perfect picture. The idea shows you the end picture, but you have to start with the foundation. You have to start with you. And then every single day you have to do something to support the evolution of that idea into its full manifestation. So every day you have to manifest a brick, you have to show up, you have to do marketing, you have to do this, you have to do that. So the full picture could take you 1,000 bricks or 100,000 bricks, under the generation of 100,000 ideas, mini ideas. an idea to go on Instagram, an idea to come on Clubhouse, an idea to go on YouTube, an idea to start a newsletter on LinkedIn, an idea to go to Twitter, an idea like every single day. Listen, the human mind is able to comprehend and generate incredible amounts of ideas in a minute. Right? So when you say yes to the bigger picture of an idea, you also have to say yes to all of the little steps that you must take to create that full, complete picture. It's like a puzzle. Imagine a puzzle of 1,000 pieces. You can't stop on 10 pieces. You don't have the full picture. The idea gives you the full picture, but the process of completing that picture requires you to pick up 1,000 pieces and set it in place. That's why I support entrepreneurs with all of this work. Because if we say marketing and you only show up once a week or once in the month, and your business idea, in order for it to function and generate wealth for you, requires you to put in place 1,000 pieces of like, listen, these things all add up. Like 1,000 content in a year. Like, but 1,000 content is 1,000 pieces that fits into overall picture that after a year you look back and you've created a resource bank for yourself. But if you don't create one content and you don't create two and you don't create three, and you're like, oh, but I want to make money. Oh, but I want to reach people. How do you reach people that with your message if you don't show up to spread the message? And spreading the message in of itself is a mini idea that you must nurture and create. Like, what are the best strategies for me to spread my message? You have to think about it in your mind, and your mind will generate ideas for you. And it will tell you, you could do this, you could do that. Then we could do this. You're supposed to test it out, test it out, test it out. Lots of series of tests of different ideas coming at you. Trust me, your mind will never fail you in generating countless amounts of ideas. It will every single day. If you sit still, it will give you permutation, combination. I have a first degree in mathematics. So we say combination, permutation, right? A combination of several ways of doing the same thing. And it continues to present to you ideas to help you get what you want. You want customers? How do we get customers? Your mind will be trying to solve that puzzle for you. But if you're not trying to solve the puzzle, your mind will not solve any puzzle. If you don't give to your mind puzzles to solve, it will not solve. It won't solve any problem you don't give to it. So if you don't want anything, your mind will not listen. Something else will preoccupy your mind. That's why people's minds get hijacked, right? Keeping scrolling. If we ask, oh, what did you learn yesterday? Nothing. What did you do yesterday? Nothing. Where were you? Social media. What's the outcome of yesterday? Nothing. Because you didn't put your mind to work. The mind is the ultimate factory that will produce everything you want. You just tell your mind what you want. Tell your mind what you want to eat, and it will work for you. Right? Tell your mind what you want and what you desire for your life. Now, here's the key. Depending on how big and audacious your dreams are, be aware it might take you longer. That's another trick. Is that the more richer it is, your mind might say, you want this mansion. Be patient with me. I may have to create all kinds of ways. Like it's like the GPS, the Google map. The longer your destination, right? It has to do more calculation before it comes up with the map and the relationships and the classes you have to take and the skills you have to develop and going to school, whether to become a doctor. Is that the more you want for your life, you have to now also realize the richness of your life must be invested in at the level at which you want to live. If you want a 100-story building, it requires a certain type of foundation. If you want a 2-story building, the type of foundation is different. If you want a skyscraper, listen, you can't use the same material. It's not going to be enough. So that's why you also have to be careful as an entrepreneur is that when you go into places and people are offering you cheap stuff, oh, just do this. You've got to ask yourself, is this enough for what I want? Is this going to relate to the picture I have in my mind? Or this is the cheap stuff, right? It's a decision. So the mind, you need to give your mind puzzles to solve every single day. And you need to quiet yourself and give yourself time to think. And I'm telling you, your mind is designed for this. It's absolutely designed to convert ideas into reality. And that's the whole point of the mind, is to receive ideas, nurture it, think about it, see it as a puzzle, come up with alternative ways of solving it, present it to you. You can decide, yes, I'll do it. No, I would not. It gives you, if you say no, it's like a computer. It tells you, okay, if you say no to this, then what about this? And they say no. And you say, what about that? And you say no. But here's the key. You can also overwhelm your mind with indecision. When it offers you 10 ways of doing this and you decide on none, you shut down your own thinking. The mind, because you've not told it what's next. So it doesn't know what next. So it shuts down. Indecision shuts down the mind as well. So I'll stop there. I mean, there's a whole lot. These are stuff I teach on and on and on in my school. The link is up above. But I just wanted to put that stuff out there for those who are still like ideas. Oh, I have ideas. I know I should start a business. Oh no, 5 years ago I knew I needed to do this. You've got to move yourself out of the space of imagination into transformation, and you have to put your mind to work. You have to tell your mind, I want this, I decide, let's figure this out. Right? So the mind is the tool that will help you figure out everything you need for where you're going, is the GPS of your life. But if that GPS is programmed wrongly, this is why mindset work is important. Is if you program your mind, you might end up in the place you never banked for, because that it's programmed through nature, nurture, culture. It's part of the program. I talk about nature, nurture, culture. It's in the way. If you don't interrogate your mind, your subconscious, if you don't listen to those stories and delete the virus, I call it the viruses. Okay, I have a degree in science, computers as well. So you find me using analogies around around mathematics. I designed an equation I call equation for success. You hear me talk about mathematics. You hear me talk about agriculture. You hear me talk about a lot of analogies, just to help people understand these principles are real, right? Is that at the end of the day, programming, I also have a degree in programming. I used to be a programmer. So I know that our mind, if the software, if the storyline, if what we believe is heavily corrupted and oriented towards limitation, and survival, when an idea comes in that requires you to take risks, people that do not want to take risk will reject the idea, because the mind is oriented. It's not oriented towards wonder and exploration and playfulness and experimentation, right? Just testing life out, right? But people that are in survival mode, they're not ready to take any risk. They're holding on tight. So when the idea comes, they're like, no, 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 in order for me to explore this idea, I have to let go of survival. And I don't want to let go of survival, because this stuff is too important. So you just find people stuck, right? They're frozen in the place of survival. And so they cannot give attention to new ideas coming in that could literally take them from where they are to where they need to be. So anyway, yeah. Any other thoughts, Michelle? I know I said a bunch of stuff there. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I was trying to flip through pages. I was looking at your academy. I'm looking at your academy and considering it like it's fantastic
Oh yeah, it's
what you
it's
get.
it's a it's a when I look at it as well, listen, there are over 300 resources there, but they are well organized, so you won't get lost. But they're very systematic. They're set up in a way that it guides you into do this, then do this, then do this, right? But trust me, it's taking I've invested countless amount of time into building that up, because it's an accelerator to overcoming all of these things, so that ultimately you land in a place where you have the skills to build the business you want, you have the mind to focus, to do the work. And as somebody who served as a strategist for Fortune 1, the biggest company in the world, is layered with big business thinking, big business strategies as well. So it's not the average stuff. It's definitely, it's a killer. It's going at its full scale. So go on, go on. Thank you for checking it out.
No, it's fantastic. It's quite extraordinary. I mean, you have an energy like I've never met anybody with your energy, of course, because you're unique. I know that, but yeah.
Ah, I appreciate. Listen, I've always been. Oh my gosh! Like I shared, I worked for the biggest company in the world at the headquarters of Walmart, and I miss it because the energy suits me. We work at a certain pace, the pace that runs the biggest company in the world. There are 2.2 million people powering that world. I design strategy, back end office stuff, multi-million dollar projects. I work with CEOs and and I also serve on a board of $1 billion. So there's a certain speed, and there's a certain rigor, and there's a certain aliveness. There's a certain it's just it's a
Mm,
different pace, and I love it because it's also, if I can use the word vibration, like when you're at the headquarters of the world's largest company, everything is possible. Anything is possible, everything is possible, everything you need is available to do anything you want in the world. Like that's
mhm,
where I was nurtured. There's a sense of belief, there's a can do, and like the mindset there is just, there's no limitation to what humans can do. Like when humans put their mind to doing anything, humans will get it done. That's really where
mhm,
I'm birthed from that space, because I've seen creativity, productivity. I've seen the energy that creates the biggest company in the world, and it's humans like you and I, but with a sense of absolute belief. There's a sense of belief, there's a sense of possibility, there's a sense of removing barriers. And one of my programs, I talk about how to remove barriers to your success, right? There's a sense of collaboration. There's a sense of, listen, we're doing this and it's possible. There's a sense of innovation. There's this
mhm,
forward mobilization of human creativity.
mhm,
And I love it. And that's what I'm
mhm,
offering. I'm a byproduct. I see myself as the little sheep that broke away from the mother sheep, but I'm carrying with me a little bit of dose of that energy, and I'm spreading it around the world. And I'm saying, here's the Kool-Aid. You need a I want to give you a little bit of taste, because listen, that's being in that company, like, oh, you're like, you're working, you feel every day you're doing something incredible. Your creativity, you're thinking strategic. I served as a strategist as well. You're constantly thinking, you're solving big problems, like multi-billion dollar complex stuff. You're thinking about the future of the world, like blockchain, like all this advanced, and whew, it is beautiful to see humans' minds collide to solve big problems, because there are some problems you unleashing your own creativity will solve. But I tell you, there are some problems in the world you cannot solve by yourself. Right? So you unleash your creativity, unleash your productivity. And I tell you, those who create maximum wealth, I've written about this before, it's available in my school. If you search it, you can find. I talk about time, how successful people, they will pay somebody else so that they can use your time to accelerate success. But even what I'm just even encouraging people to do is increase your own personal productivity first, develop your skills first, develop your own mindset so that you can unleash your own productivity and creativity. And then when you graduate, listen, you can now collide with other people. And this is where you can amplify. This is where you can grow impact, when you partner through partnerships and collaboration. But many people, if they've not unleashed their own productivity, they are coming to the table with limited capacity they can't do much, right? But when humans that have done the individual work of unleashing their creativity and productivity, when they collide, like in a company like Walmart, oof, they take over. They do it quietly, but people like Elon Musk, that's what they're doing. When you think about Starlinks and put, their rocket ships, is that it's not an individual anymore. It's a collaboration and a combination of humans that have solved these things, that can think and solve big, big, big problems in the world. When they come together, they will do it, right? But when individuals haven't done this personal work, it's very, very tough for them to collaborate to go to the next level, for you to build the types of business on and on and on. So yeah, so I'm a product of that type of view on the world. Yeah. Like it's just a different way of doing life. And I've worked with people that they don't have a consciousness around impossibility. Can you be like, most people in the world, they believe, oh, it's not possible, it's not possible. But the world I'm coming from, all things are possible. We just have to figure it out. That's it. Like, we may not know how to do it, but you believe it's possible, and then they put resources, time, and energy to make it come into reality. They invest time. There's nothing in them. There's nothing in their consciousness that is saying, "Oh, this." Oh, no, no. And that's what the mindset work is required. Is that you've got to remove everything that tells you your ideas is not possible for you. So yeah. So thank you. So I just gave you a little bit of why. Yeah, this is it for me. And if we can spread some joy, if we can spread some excitement, if we can spread some aliveness and sense of possibility, that's what I'll continue to share. And then I also say, listen, while I can excite you, I also say invest in skills, because you can dream all you want, but for us to create in reality, we must master specific skills that will help us do the work. Otherwise, we just stay in the imagination and excitement phase, and still we've not manifested. So thank you, Miss Lauren. Do you want to come up? I'm closing out now. If not, that's okay. And team replay, thank you so much. The replay will be on. That's it. It's a wrap. Oh, Jeanette, thank you for coming. I'm gonna close out shortly. The replay is on. Listen, the replay will be like, you want to access that. It was really good, I think. Miss Shelley, will you agree with me? The session was amazing.
I think you're wonderful. I think you're wonderful, Toya. I do.
Oh, I think you are wonderful. That's why I believe in the power in people. That's why I dedicate myself to, creating space that will help people, achieve their highest, the fullest expression of themselves, because the ideas in you and I, they're gifts to the world, and they're also a gift to you. Your greatness, the highest expression of you, is actually tied to your ideas and who you become
Hmm.
on that journey to
Yeah.
fulfilling them. So I believe in the human capacity, and that's why I've dedicated myself to, write my book, do my show, build my school, to help people unleash their own creativity and productivity and do everything they want to do in the world. All things are possible to them that believe, and I believe those who believe will live the life of their dreams. So yeah, so I believe in you. I believe in you, and that's why I'm pouring myself and investing myself and documenting my own thoughts, my own skills, my own all of. That's why I spend time documenting, teaching, guiding everywhere online, everywhere you go. If you follow me on any platform, you'll find it for yourself a mini school in any of my profiles. And then my school is the big mega one with over 300 resources for those who want to focus, dedicate themselves, and follow the entire process and framework that I've designed there. But anywhere you follow me, any platform you follow me, listen, there's a small school waiting for you there. Everywhere you go, you can pick up incredible stuff that would make you think. I always say we have to think our way to solve all of these things, and the world is making people not to think anymore, and that right there is a big massive problem. I don't know where the world is going, but we need thinkers and problem solvers, right, to lead us into the future. And people that don't think, they become, it's easy for them to be dominated, for them to be ruled, for them to be, let me use the word, enslaved, because those who do not think are in the dark. There's no consciousness, right? There's no awareness about what's happening, and they can easily be fed through the media to believe whatever. Like, the media can tell you what to believe. If you've not done this work, you can read something on Fox and, oh, or on MSNBC, and then you turn your life upside down because of something you read online. Yeah. But once you're conscious, listen, you question everything. You cannot be easily fooled. You cannot easily be taken for granted. You will resist every force trying to minimize you. You will stand up. This is self actualization, right? But if you don't do this work and expand your own consciousness, listen, you can easily be led down a rabbit hole. This is the crowd mentality. Like they can think about the bank run, right? One small thing, and we humans, we are still like that. We think we are evolved, but trust me, we're still deeply emotional. So self-control is also being critical to say what's going on and who is behind all this news and what are they trying to get me to do, and not subjecting. Don't give your mind. If you give your mind away, listen, don't give your mind away. Don't be
Mhm.
easily dictated to. Don't be that person that you believe everything you read and you see out there. But I'm telling you, most people in the world, they're on social, they're typing, and they're vibrating. Listen, get busy building the future you want. Leave all the stuff, right? You know who wins? The platforms win when there's so much noise on social media. When people are reacting and shouting and screaming, the platforms love it. They make billions of dollars out of those reactivity. They make a ton of money. But you know who loses? The person who just wasted their time. Instead of giving it to their future, they give it to nothing that will not advance them. So if you want to win, I always say, carve out time to think, solve for yourself and the world. That's really the path of success. Is you create value. You're going to create. You absolutely, for you to achieve success and create well, you will create value. And in order for you to create value, right, in your factory of your mind, you will think, you will strategize, you will pray, you may cry, you may scream, you will ask for help, and then you will create, you will give back. It's like a big, you will cry. Like, anyway, for me, my school is just helping people make that process a lot easier, more straightforward. Yeah. Thank you again. I'm going to close out now in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.